All right, let's now talk about draw with the retention system. I had an open top holster before. That means it's like a level 1 retention. There's some frictional engagement on the holster, but that's it. That works in some scenarios, but a lot of people like to have some form of retention where they have to actively engage a certain process to defeat a mechanism to withdraw that gun. This is very common in law enforcement, and this holster, for example, it has a retention feature where this latch has to be depressed rearwardly to disengage a connection to allow the gun to be drawn. So the same principles apply of the draw, where you drive your fingertips, you drive your thumb around and get it into a position around high on the gun as quickly as possible. But now you have to engage these other neuron skills of pressing this with a sufficient amount of force, and don't just try to press it adequately, press it with a lot of force to get that gun out of that holster. This is one example of many types of retention. The important thing to remember is train defeating your retention in high volume. 2,000 reps at a minimum, probably to really get to ground in good proficiency. I would go for about 10,000 reps. Roughly gauge out, say 100 draws a night, and work it. And don't just work it in a real consistent environment. Change it up. Go from like one knee, for example, like you're changing your tire or whatever, and then work that defeating that mechanism. Use natural apparatuses and situations just around your house while you're working on something, and you just have your stuff on and you're safe, you have no live firearms, and all of a sudden just go ahead and work a draw with, and drop in a tool, getting in a different shooting position, going for cover or what have you, and go ahead and go forward and work a reload right after that. Another thing to consider with retention is retention in your mag pouches. I have a system here which is pretty slick. It's made from a company in Boise, Idaho, and it basically has a retention feature so the magazines are locked in unless your thumb hits this device. This system positively engages these magazines, and the disengagement feature is very natural. As soon as your thumb hits this spring feature, it removes this latch and allows a very ergonomic, very efficient, very consistent way of extracting that magazine. The main point with your retention systems is train them, train defeating them, and train them in high volume and train them properly from all different types of body orientations.